Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join us for Championship preview and predictions. Round 28. 18 games to go. There'll be 10 to go soon, and we'll be calling it the home straight. Just you wait and see. One game tonight, huge game tonight, and then everybody else Saturday. 12:30 kickoff, and then 3 p.m. and then we are all done. We are going to preview and predict all 12 of this weekend's fixtures. Excuse me. And I need your help, obviously, in the comments. We'll go through each game, top to bottom, and you give me home, away, or draw in all of these. Before we get into the games, let me know that you can see me, hear me loudly, clearly. Say hello in the chat if you can, and we will say a big thank you to our preview show sponsors, the Donovan brothers, who sponsor the show in loving memory of Michael Donovan of South East London, a lifelong Millwall fan and admirer of this show. We thank the Donovan brothers. You can see the running order ticking along the bottom there if you want to know when we're going to talk about your team, if you're that way inclined. Let's get involved in every team, though, not just the team you support. Leave your bias at the door. You can support via Super Chat at any point during this broadcast. The first Super Chatter of any show becomes the king of the bin and wins the fake news sin bin sponsorship. What an honour. Patreon is the best place to support the channel, www.patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. If you're here on YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook, hit the thumbs up. YouTube especially, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We are over 14,000 subscribers now on YouTube. Happy days. As I said, let's put the running order back on there. Now we have plugged away. We say hello to Carl and Mr. E and Chris and Joel and Philip and Alistair and Anir and Samuel and Owen. Lovely to see you all. Help us out with your predictions. Marcus as well. Just arriving. Right. Here we go. There is the round. Big one tonight in 7 hours and 11 minutes is Swansea versus Norwich. We'll be doing that first, obviously. And we'll be watching along tonight. Join me at 8 p.m. for that one. Early kickoff on Saturday is Coventry-Watford. I think it was a success last week. The Super Stream starting earlier at 1:30, so we will do the same. The Saturday Super Stream will take in the second half, of Coventry versus Watford. And then all of the 3 o'clocks. Barnsley versus Darby. Bournemouth versus Birmingham, Bristol City versus Cardiff, Luton versus Huddersfield, Borough versus Brentford, Millwall versus Sheffield Wednesday, Preston versus Rotherham, QPR versus Blackburn, Stoke versus Reading, Wickham versus Forest. Here we go then, and we'll go straight in with the big one. Get your predictions in for Swansea City versus Norwich City. First against third. Live watch along tonight has the makings of being very tight and a real cracking watch, this one. Very, very much looking forward to this one. Norwich up at the top of the table, 4 points clear of a new team in second place. Swansea were overtaken by Brentford and their stonking 19-match undefeated streak. Swansea in good form, but for God's sake, guys, look at the top of the table. Everyone's in good form. The entire top 4 in those last 5 games. Look at that. Norwich, 11 points. Brentford, 13 points. And then Swansea and Reading, both 11. Watford, who have only got 1 point in the last 2, still 10. And then, okay, we'll talk about Bournemouth in a bit. But big splurt of points there at the top of the table. Let's have a look at the home and away. Swansea at home, only one defeat there. Can anyone remind me who that was against? Who did Swansea lose the one home game to? I can't remember. So they have accumulated 26 points, but the one defeat is the big thing. Only 6 goals conceded at home. However, who's the best away team in the league in terms of accumulated points? Norwich, with 8 away wins this season. Let's have a look at the recent form. I mean, you can probably figure, as I've just told you, the top 5 all in really good form, top 4 particularly. Rotherham Swansea. Rotherham popped up at the top there. Swansea just excellent recently. And when they get a difficult game, look in there. Reading at home, Brentford at home. They don't lose it, do they? And then wins over Barnsley and QPR. Watford, top 6 game, another one against Barnsley. And then the recent win against Rotherham is 5 wins, 2 draws in the last 7. 15 points in 7. Very impressive from Swansea. Norwich, well, 4 wins and a draw in 6. However, the last 2 games, 0-0 against Borough, 0-0 against Millwall, and here comes the Michael Jordan theory. Emi Buendia is suspended. And statistics tell us, lies damn lies than statistics, Norwich improve 3 times when Buendia is not playing to compare to when he's not playing. The points per game, 0.8 around there without Buendia. So relegation form without Buendia, incredibly, in the Championship. And 2.3 points per game with Buendia. Norwich are way better with Buendia than without. And they are without him tonight. Let's have a look and see what you guys are saying. First of all, though, Paul, legend. Thank you. Paul becomes king of the bin. Thank you very, very much, Paul, for that super chat. Not the first time you supported. Paul, you've got something to plug, haven't you? Please shout it out and I'll plug it in the chat. Right. What are you guys saying here? Swansea drawn 4 of 6 versus top 6. Norwich rarely win without Buendia. The Michael Jordan theory, which we're going to use on Derby County as well later as well. 2-0 Swans, 1-0 Swans, 1-1. Draw. 2-1 Swans, 1-1 Swansea, 0-0 guaranteed. Fake news. Draw. I think this game will be the winner of the league. Interesting. I think Brentford might have something to say about that. Luke says, as a Norwich fan without Buendia, I ain't even watching. I'm going to spend the evening. That's tremendous. 2-0 Swans, says Kieran. 2-0 Swans. It was Huddersfield. Thank you, guys. Huddersfield, wow. If you'd made me guess, I wouldn't have guessed Huddersfield were the only team to win at Swansea this season. Thank you, guys, for letting me know. Jordan Morris, a couple of American players in there now. Thank you. Brian, legend. Brian, thank you. Thank you to the advice you gave my missus earlier as well. Brilliant stuff. 2-0 Swans. Now, I very rarely do this, so don't get on my back, Norwich fans. I very rarely go against Farker and Norwich in the Championship, but I'm going with the Michael Jordan theory. Norwich don't win without Buendia. Home. Probably about the first time in about 6 months I've predicted that Norwich are going to lose. Home win to Swansea. I'm purely predicated on Buendia not playing. That's it. That one statistic I'm analysing it on. A single factor analysis that I tell everybody, never decide football on a single factor analysis. And there we go. What a massive hypocrite I am. Swansea to win and giving Brentford a chance to really catch up in second. Shall we move on and talk about Brentford? Tricky one, though. Middlesbrough versus Brentford. What do you think in the comments? Borough versus Brentford. Good draw for Borough at Norwich last time out. Somewhat of a tactical super plan by Warnock because he man-marked Cantwell and Buendia. One was subbed off and one was sent off. So you would have to say that worked, especially given how good Norwich have been, particularly, been good everywhere, haven't they? I was going to say particularly at home, but good work from Borough. I don't see him doing the same thing at Brentford. Obviously, a slightly different system with a 4-3-3 at Brentford. And frankly, you're not quite sure who's going to play in the wide front positions for Brentford, because there has been some rotation there. And Brentford, pull out whatever stat you like to say that they've been brilliant since game number 8. So it was 11 points in the first 8 games. So 40 points in the next 18 games. So just that slow start. But if they were to win the game in hand, they would be 1 point off the top, and certainly in fine form. Ivan Toney now 20 goals in 26 games for him. Sensational return from Ivan Toney. Let me do the home and aways quickly, because Borough were really good at home, weren't they? But they've now lost their last 3 home games, which is not good. Okay, they were coming back from COVID for the first one, but I think, who have they lost to? Rotherham, Birmingham, and somebody else. Apologies, who I've forgotten, but Blackburn. Not great. Brentford, 3rd best away team, and obviously they're going to have an undefeated away streak on the basis they're 19 undefeated period, home or away. I suppose the interest is here, what do Borough do, really? Because you kind of know what Brentford are going to do. You know what sort of standard they're going to hit. Can Borough stop them? Will Warnock go defensive? Will Warnock attack them? Will he get caught betwixt and between? It is only 1 point in the last 3 games, like it was that good point we mentioned at Norwich, wasn't it? Let's see. I'm going to plead the 5th. See what you guys are saying in the chat. Chris. Borough not scored in 4 of the last 5, lost 3 in a row at home. Brentford last drew a league game December 9th. Nice. 0-0. Borough are inconsistent at home. 1-1. I can't read that, Paul. Unbelievable. 2-1 Borough away. 2-0 Borough. Philip says we never beat Warnock team, so I guess draw. Warnock will have Borough. Organised 1-1. Draw knock. I like that, Owen. 2-0 Bees away. 2-0 Bees. 3-1 Brentford, or a Warnock wonder smash and grab. You love to see it, don't you? Thanks, Annie. I figured it out in the end. Borough 1-0. Big Pete, saggy balls. Wow. Brentford 2-0. Brentford 2-1. I think this is more difficult than it looks, and I think given that Swansea and Norwich are playing each other, a draw is not the worst result in the world for Brentford, and it's Borough. And I think we looked at it, didn't we? Let me bring it up. Brentford's next 4 games are actually quite tricky, and it's almost the case of, can they get through, with 8 or 9 points from the next 4 or 5 games? So I think draws might actually be quite valuable. Let me bring it up. Look, Borough away, Reading away, Barnsley home, QPR, Coventry. Okay. I take that back. The next 2 are hard. So I'm sure they would take 2 points and then go win the home games. You can see where I'm going with this. Draw. I'll go for a draw. Although I wouldn't be surprised if Brentford really are the real deal now, and they're going to continue with their foot on the accelerator right through to the end of the season, then they will probably go and win. But I'll go for a draw in this one. And we will move on to Stoke versus Reading. Get your predictions in. Stoke versus Reading. Let me bring it up on the split screen for you. Reading we did on the watch along last week. So impressive, weren't they, in the first half against Bournemouth? Obviously, context is king, and we know that all was not well at Bournemouth, was it? Jason Tindall then sacked a few days later after the defeat at home to Sheffield Wednesday. But nonetheless, big props to Reading for that performance. That was superb. And Yaidam, Maite, another week on, a little bit fitter. It's just kind of push gas now. And they're back to full strength after their big injury problems. Great run. And I think I'm now convinced they're the real deal for playoffs. Obviously, Reading fans were asking me, can we make the top 2 now? Can we make the top 2? I'm just at Reading now. I'm convinced. They've convinced me from finishing 14th under Mark Bowen last season that they're the real deal for the playoffs. Stoke, such a disappointing run. I predicted all season that Stoke, in the end, would edge their way into the playoffs. And horrible run at the moment. Just bring up Stoke's recent run. And you're just going to see not very many wins. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 1 win in 13 for Stoke in all competitions. We knew they were draw heavy. We knew they were pragmatic, but 1 win in 13 tells its own story. Pretty busy in the window as well. So maybe some integration issues. And they're going against a team in Reading that are just super practiced at their system. Let's do the home and aways. At home, Stoke, not great at all, actually. 15th most points accumulated, only 5 wins as well. They've been beaten at home 5 times. Away from home, Reading are decent, 6th best in the division, 1 defeat in the last 5. Looking at the recent results as well, you know what the pattern is for Stoke. They're just not winning at the moment. Difficult game there against Watford, lost it. Difficult game against Bournemouth, lost it. Both of them at home, and then draws the rest of them. And not many goals other than that mad game against Rotherham that was 3-3. In terms of Reading, well, they're either winning and drawing for their last 6 games, 14 points from 6. Very impressive form from there. And didn't lose at Swansea. A postponement at Brentford's always helpful, isn't it? And beat Bournemouth. So they've played 2 top 6 teams in their most recent defeats, though, Brentford and Norwich. So some sense that Reading may be a bit short of the top 4 teams, but everyone else, they give a good game. I'm going to plead the 5th and see what you guys are saying in the chat for this one. Here we go. We've done all of the Brentford one. There we go. Right. Stoke, not 1 in 9. 1 win in 13. All 5 losses in that period at home. Interesting. Reading unbeaten in 6. Reading 1-0. And Terry, he did say please. Okay. There's the only fans, the only football fans. There you go. I've plugged it. You can stop asking now. Stoke narrowly. Zhao versus Fletcher. Nice. In the ex-Sheffield Wednesday striker stakes. Reading 1-0, 3-1 Stoke. 2-0 Reading. Reading 2-0 away. Got you on whilst I ride my bike. Nice. Come on. Go on, Kieran. Everyone get behind him. Go on. Faster. Draw. 2-1. Leaving my bias at the door. Have to back the Royals. Ajaria's eye still swollen from Bournemouth injury, but should play. Looks so good going forward now, Reading, don't they? With Ajaria, Elise, Swift, Maite off the bench, and Lucas Zhao banging the goals in. 3-1 Reading. Draws are killers. 1-1. Draw. Reading 3-1. Draw Merchants. You're welcome, Terry. I've got a feeling, because both of these teams are good at defending, that this is also going to be draw. Bit boring. I'm expecting a low-scoring draw. Both teams know how to defend. Remember, we did the game between Preston and Reading, and it panned out that way, where both teams know how to defend. I think Reading would prefer to play a Bournemouth, who are going to kind of come out and go at them. So let's go draw, and let's move on to Coventry versus Watford. Let me know what you think in the comments on this one. Watford, little bit of a slip in recent days. 1 point from the last 2. And we covered that game against QPR, and QPR were good value for that win, weren't they? Bold performance, bold substitutions, a silly mistake for the goal against them, and I thought they did well against Watford to get that win. And then the draw previously to that. Coventry in good form over, I think I worked it out, 16 games now. They're above a point per game, which is my standard for survival. If you're hitting a point per game for a long period of time, I suspect you're going to be all right. And Coventry are doing that. The game is a home game, stroke St Andrews game. Coventry, 13th best home team in terms of points accumulated in the division. Watford, well, we've mentioned their away record many, many times. However, they do have 7 points from 5 now with a couple of victories in there, but a little bit flattering to deceive at the moment are the Hornets. And Coventry are a well-organised team, aren't they? Coventry losing at home to Chris Hughton's Forest in midweek. A draw against Birmingham. So, yeah, just loads of games at St Andrews in a row here. God, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 in a row. There you go. Who do they beat, Coventry? Well, Sheffield Wednesday, Millwall. Ooh, let me plead the fifth. Let's go into your predictions first. What do we got here? Coventry 5 home draws, Watford 6 away draws. We know where Chris is going. 1-0 Watford, 1-1, 2-1 Watford, draw, Cov. The Marlon King Darby. I like that, Paul. I like that a lot. 1-0 Cov. Watford, Deeney Penn. Where's he going to put it, Mystery? Where's he going to put it? How hard is he going to hit it? 1-0 Watford. 2-0 Cov. 3-1 Watford. 1-1. 1-0 Watford. I'm going to be a dullard here. Just read Ben's one out there as well. Deeney loves St Andrews. He does, especially when he's playing against Birmingham. I'm going with Watford, guys. Away. Shall we say 1-0 Watford, Deeney penalty, hit down the middle with Morosi getting a hand to it, yeah? We'll be very specific, which is exactly what happened against Birmingham in the same stadium, isn't it? I just think Watford, this is going to be one of the games where their quality gets through. But look out for O'Hare for Coventry, who's in lovely form, playing very well. He's got, I think, like 3 assists in the last 2 games, looking very good. Bournemouth versus Birmingham. Wasn't this game 8-0 once? Any Bournemouth or Birmingham fans? Remind me of that one. And of course, we have one massive mitigating factor in this game. Jason Tindall has been fired on Wednesday, was it? After losing at home to Sheffield Wednesday. So, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Will that cause more chaos? Or had he lost the dressing room? Will they now perk up? Jonathan Woodgate is in temporary charge. You just can't see the pattern of play being any different, though. I don't know what he's going to have done in 2 days, considering the idea was that Jason Tindall just absorbs Eddie Howe's pattern of play and they keep doing the same thing anyway. So I guess Woodgate's just keeping the seat warm unless he wins 5 games in a row whilst they're deciding or something like that. Birmingham are pretty horrible at the moment. 2 points from the last 3. And with that rising tide at the bottom of the table, it's only been Birmingham and Wycombe that haven't had a little winning splurge, isn't it? So Birmingham have actually been better away from home. I think they've got like double the away points than home. Bournemouth at home, 6th best team in the league. However, 1 point from the last 3 games. We have to give them a little bit of a pass in the game against Luton because that early red card to Jeff Lerma was rescinded. They kind of admitted they got that one wrong. Look at Birmingham's away from. That's so odd. 19 points away from home, sort of 8th best in the division, and only 8 goals conceded. I guess the question is, we're talking about intangibles here, aren't we? And the myth of the new manager bounce or manager leaving bounce, which I don't necessarily subscribe to. I do think it is a bit of a myth, but I think in this instance, they might get a reaction, Bournemouth, which will be not good news for Blues at all. They've only won one game on that page there, and that was after Borough were coming back from COVID. However, Bournemouth, horrible form, but Bournemouth have a good squad of players. I'm going to go ahead of you guys. I'm still going to read your predictions. Home win. I'm going home win in this one. I think Bournemouth get a reaction. We'll see. I'm going on intangibles, so there's no logic behind my prediction at all. Let's move on. What are you guys saying here? Bournemouth says Nat. Kieran says Bournemouth. Alistair Birmingham. Matt will come on to Forest in a bit. Bournemouth winless in 5 league. Birmingham won 1 in 11. Goodness me. Yeah, 8-0. I remember it. 2-1 Blues. Draw. 8-0. Bam. There you go. 4-0 Blues, says Jack. Optimistic there. 1-0 Bournemouth, 1-0 Bournemouth. New manager. Will believes in the new manager bounce. There we go. As you may know, I don't believe in the manager of the month curse. Someone did write a paper on the new manager bounce, which nerds like me would actually win, but they read. There we go. Bournemouth. Away, says Ryan. Home, says Curved Glass. Blues, says Bad. Nasha, very mixed on that. We know if we get the new manager bounce that Bournemouth will win based on quality. So let's just see if they can drag themselves out of this dismal run that saw the firing of poor old Jason Tindall. Bit of a dead man walking, no-win situation thing for Tindall there. He either got them promoted automatically and everyone would say, oh, it's Eddie Howe's team and he had the parachute payments, blah, blah, blah. Or they're not in the top 2 with 25 games to go or whatever, and he gets fired. I don't know what else they expected, really, but hey, that's a rant for another day. QPR versus Blackburn. Are Blackburn going to be in a position here to make a challenge if Bournemouth do keep faltering? Blackburn have a game in hand and are 3 points off the playoffs and are in decent form. They've done this a few times, Blackburn under Mowbray in the last few years, where they have had an 8-game run where they've scored, I don't know, 15 to 18 points across the 8 games and done really, really well. They've often been followed by, it's been a bit streaky, but they're on one at the moment, 10 points in 4, and they visit QPR, who are 10 points in 5 and had that great win over at Watford that we covered the other night. In terms of QPR's home form, 20th in terms of points accumulated. Blackburn's away form, 10th, but 2 straight away victories at Birmingham and Borough. So they have beaten teams lower down in the table in away games of late. As I say, good form from Blackburn. We always flag up. Harvey Elliott's really good. Adam Armstrong's really good. Joe Rothwell, Bradley Dack, blah, blah, blah. Can he get a tune out of them? Hasn't been consistent over a 8-game period yet this season, has it? Rangers, well, they kind of sink down towards the bottom 3 and then have a little... They're kind of the antithesis of Blackburn, aren't they? In that the closer either of these teams goes to either the playoff line or the relegation line, they then move away from it inexorably towards each other, towards the middle of the table. But they'll hope that that's not the case. I think this is a difficult one to call. I'm going to go to the comments first. QPR versus Blackburn. Has anyone got a derby for me? Any player who played for both QPR and Blackburn? Let me know. Chris says, QPR not won at home since November the 21st. Failed to score in the last 5 at home. Ouch. Blackburn defensive reinforcements. Yes, 2 lone players. Taylor Harwood-Bellis from Manchester City and Jared Braithwaite from Everton. 1-1. Says Paul. 2-2. 2-1 Rovers, says Vindictus Gaming. We beat QPR and go into the playoffs, says Ryan. Confidence. I love it. Away, says Chris. That's Rovers. 2-1 Blackburn. Home, says Anir. Noah says we never beat Blackburn apart from last year. Nothing like a good caveat. Repeat of the 1912 Charity Shield. I remember it well, Mr. E. One of my favourites. 2-1 Blackburn, 2-1 Rangers. We've only played in the league once at home since the improved form. 3-1 Rovers. Alistair's pleading the 5th. There you go. I love that. He doesn't get mentioned enough. Chris Samba. Remind me to do Chris. Oh, Roy Wegerle. What a player. Remember that goal Roy Wegerle scored at Ellen Road? Ridiculous. 1-1 Rovers. Gareth Ainsworth. Did he play for Blackburn? Not sure. 2-1 Blackburn. 3-1 Blackburn. 2-1 Blackburn away. 1-0 Blackburn. 1-1. Chris Samba. I saw Ipswich were beating Aston. No, or were they losing to Aston Villa? I can't remember. Whenever Chris Samba was at Aston Villa briefly, Steve Bruce brought him on up front at the end of the game. That must have been the one we won there. Anyway, it was one. It was a performance up front that was received with great hilarity by all. Not quite sure why he ended up front, but there you go. I'm going to go for QPR. I don't know why. I have a weird hunch. Home. I know. I just feel that that performance against Watford, there's going to be lots of confidence. I don't know. I've got no logic, but from what I saw on Monday, they moved the ball quite nicely. There's a fairly solid base to the team with Dieng and Dickey and Cameron. Charlie Austin, you give him a big chance, he will score. I don't know why. I just have a hunch for QPR in this one, and their improved form to continue. Oh, a local derby here. Bristol City versus Cardiff. Well, is it more a grudge match than a local derby? How many miles? Can someone look it up? How many miles are there between Bristol and Cardiff over the old Severn Bridge, which is blooming scary to go across, because you go across, don't you? And then there's that lower bit the other side, and yeah, not fun driving over the Severn Bridge, is it? And then you have to pay £6 when you get the other side. Is it still £6? Anyway, I'm rambling. Bristol City versus Cardiff. And there is the league tables. We saw Bristol City in midweek. Look, they were playing away at Brentford. They took the lead. Brentford were really good, weren't they? And did the number. I did like the look of young Edwards, the winger. Masengo came back, played quite well. Jeju up top on his own. I guess they don't do that against Mick and Cardiff. Maybe they'll go with Wells. And is Martin fit? I'm not entirely sure. But 3 defeats in 4 for Bristol City. Cardiff, well, look at the last 5 games and tell me when Mick McCarthy joined there. The defeats will turn into draws, and then they will become incredibly hard to play against and beat, as we all know what Mick is going to do there. Games at Bristol City. So Bristol City home form's good, actually. Wow, look at that. 4 wins in 5 at home for Bristol City. I didn't realise it was that good. Cardiff away from home. No wins in 3. 13th best team in the division away from home is nothing to crow about. Obviously, we had the mitigating factor of a change of manager there. So I guess you draw a line where Mick starts at Barnsley and just look at those last couple of games. Bristol City, well, they've had a hard run, haven't they? Norwich and Brentford in those 2 defeats in those last sort of 5 games. Darby as well. Is that becoming a hard game with or without Bielik? We'll figure that one out. Let's go to your comments on this one. Bristol City versus Cardiff. What are you guys saying? 43 miles. Thank you, CPE. Is that closer than Ipswich and Norwich? What's Ipswich and Norwich? About 50? I can't think. The Bobby Reid derby. Boom. Right. Where are we going here? There. Okay, right. Bristol City, no draw since November the 25th. Cardiff winless in 8. Again, with these stats, I think it's fair to draw a line where the new manager comes in. Not good form for Bristol City. 7 defeats in 10, but 6 of those 10 were away. Too true. And a couple of difficult games there. 2-1 Cardiff. 0-0. No predictions, too nervous. There you go. 2-1 Bristol City. Make sure you call them Bristol City Leeds 2021. As everyone gets cross with you. They scrapped the charge, did they? Good. I always thought it was amusing they charged you to come in and not back out. I thought that said quite a lot. You can leave for free. 0-0, 1-0 Cardiff away, says Chris, which is Cardiff. 2-1 Bristol City. Mick McCarthy bounce, Cardiff wins. 40 miles by road, about 6 miles for Crows. Lovely stuff. Up the Owls, says Joseph. Well, we'll move on to them soon. No, I don't think Bristol City will rest anyone for the cup. Who have they got, Ben? Sheffield United, is it? I can't think. Draw. I'm terrified of Mick. Of course you are. Draw. Patterson back. That's good news, isn't it? Mick holds 0 prisoners. A certain podcast involving some young Sky reporters said Bristol City have nothing much to play for this season. Bit early to be saying that. Yes, indeed. Loath to back the Bluebirds, but 1-0 Cardiff. 2-1 Bristol City. 2-1 Bristol City. 2-0 Bristol City. Draw. Aidan Flint, Marlon Pack, Lee Tomlin, Darby. Aidan Flint, Marlon Pack retirement home. There you go. 2-1 Bristol City. Have I seen your new profile picture? There it is. That is James Garner. Nice. I think we're there, apart from I haven't given my prediction. Mick was very cautious in Ipswich-Norwich games. It's too predictable for me to go draw with McCarthy, isn't it? Let's go for a Bristol City home win. Why the hell not, hey? Why the hell not? Let's upset old Mick. Preston versus Rotherham. That's the Darnell Fisher derby, isn't it? Am I right about that? Preston versus Rotherham. Get your predictions in for this one. Rotherham in damn good form, aren't they? Brilliant win against Darby. You'll be pleased to know I got a refund from Rams TV after that stream dropped out just after half time. Thank you for your consumer advice on that one, guys. We did have fun still watching Brentford, though, didn't we? Anyway, Preston versus Rotherham. So Preston have got to integrate rather a lot of new players now. Obviously, Ben Davies has gone, and they've got Vandenberg and Lindsay as centre halves now. Darnell Fisher's gone, and Cunningham's back as a fullback, and Whiteman, Mollenby, Evans, Johnson and Brown signed new contracts. So it does feel a little bit chaotic, doesn't it, at Preston in this sort of 6-8 week period. And you know my view on what chaos does for your on-pitch form, don't you? Unless you're Sheffield Wednesday, in case it improves your results tenfold. Rotherham, 10 points in 5. Boom. And a couple of away wins as well. Great win over Darby for the Millers. And look out for Matt Crooks playing at number 10. He's in fine form. Good physicality, good on the ball, goal scoring knack as well. He's come good at the right time. Preston, 19th best team at home in the league. Not good. Rotherham, 20th best away team, but 2 wins recently. Let's check out the recent form there. Rotherham, real nice trend upwards there. 2 wins over Derby in that period, a win at Borough. They lost to Swansea. Swansea in really good form at the moment. Draw against Stoke. Hey, it's Stoke. Draw's kind of guaranteed, isn't it? Preston, just so erratic, isn't it? 3 straight wins, 2 straight defeats, 4 points in 2, and then lose to Sheffield Wednesday. So who knows what you're going to get. With that in mind, I'll go to your comments first and steal all of your ideas. What else have we got here? Ben Pringle or Darnell Fisher Derby. There. Ben Pringle played for Ipswich on loan for a little while. One of those. The Wood Preserver Derby. Nice. Rotherham to win. Continue the good form. 0-0. Rotherham in improved form. Preston lost 7 at home. 1-1. 2-1 Millers says Charlie. 2-0 Rotherham. What else have we got here? 1-0 Rotherham. 2-1 Rotherham. Can even imagine a supermarket trip with McCarthy would be cautiously done. He'd go round with the little thing where you scan as you go and it tots up your... And he'd go and he'd pick up the little treat and he'd say, nah, I've got a feeling once we get 3 aisles down, I'll have spent too much money. So, yeah, I agree. Rotherham to win. I always thought it'd be great to go around the supermarket with Barry Davis and just get him to commentate on stuff and it'd say anything in his voice. Oh, it's a lovely apple, a really lovely apple you bought. 1-1 King Apple. There you go, on cue. Away, 3-1 Preston, 1-0 Rotherham. That's tremendous. I think we know what he's referring to there. Away, a good chance for Rotherham, but you can't be sure what Preston would do. Miller's 2-1. 0-0 draw. Draw. Preston and Erratic, get it off the bingo list. Yeah. 2-0 Rotherham. First time Rotherham have done a double over Derby since 1966. Boom. Rotherham 2-0. Preston 2-1. God knows. I don't know what to call. So I'm going to be very boring. Draw. I don't know. Someone will equalise late, but I don't know who it will be. Barnsley versus Darby. Now, do we do the Michael Jordan theory that we did with Emi Buendia and Norwich for Christian Bielik and Darby as well? We'll check the numbers in a few games, but poor Christian Bielik has another cruciate ligament injury, so good luck to him. But there seems a fair amount of evidence that Darby are a lot better with Bielik than they are without him. Get your predictions in for Barnsley versus Darby. So Barnsley in 12th there had that run where they played Swansea, Norwich and Watford and lost all 3. They've drawn their last 2, but if you remember, they drew 2-2 against Cardiff and they were 2-0 up and 0-0 against Forest and they had the better of the chances. So I don't think we're far away from a Barnsley trend upwards. Performances would intimate that it is coming. Performances would also intimate we might get a downtrend from Darby unless the new additions to their squad can absorb the potential for problems without Bielik. So I don't know their names. Look, Pat Roberts, I know, has gone in on loan from Man City. Lee Gregory on loan from Stoke. Tad Mengi is one of them from Manchester United. And a guy called Benanguime from Everton. They've basically signed a load of players. So whether they can get them all in and that will make the difference in the midterm, I don't know whether it will in the short term. Maybe a Patrick Roberts might if Wayne Rooney can actually be the guy to get that guy playing when Daniel Farker and Neil Warnock couldn't. Would kind of intimate that it might be more difficult than it looks. Barnsley's home form is the 11th best in the league. Derby's away form is the 16th best in the league. Recent results say, well, they don't really say a lot because there's mitigating factors, with the difficulty of opposition in that losing streak for Barnsley. And of course, with all the new players from Darby and Bielik going out, I think I'm going to go home. I think we might get a Barnsley win in this one, a low-scoring win. I just feel that in the midterm, I think Darby might just drop down a bit and then improve again as Rooney incorporates the new players into his system and starts to use Gregory and Roberts up the top end. But I don't think that starts happening in this game. I think Barnsley get the win in the first instance. Let's see what you guys are saying. Barnsley fairly solid at home versus bottom half. Derby, no Bielik. There you go. Going to be an issue. 1-1, 2-2, 3-1. Barnsley. Jed, who's a Patreon. Welcome, Jed. Barnsley 2-1. Home 3-0. A new boy, DK. Don't call him Dyke to score on his debut. Home. Barnsley. Jason Shackle, Derby. Barnsley 3-0, 2-1 Barnsley, 2-1 Barnsley, 2-1 Barnsley. Mengi 2-2. Is Rooney an actual decent manager? I don't think it's very fair to say the jury is still out when he's only been a manager for about 5 games. Give him a chance. Give him a chance. Barnsley to shade it. 1-0. Darby there, says Owen. DK hat-trick. 2-1 Barnsley. Yeah, I agree. It's not fair to judge Rooney yet. Get the Rooney derangement syndrome out and give him at least 10 games, for goodness sakes. Home win, says Ben. 1-0 Barnsley. We'll see. Well, we'll see Lee in terms of the weather up and down the country. Luton versus Huddersfield. Anyone think of a player who's played for both Luton and Huddersfield? And get your predictions in the comments. Luton just sliding a little bit. Sliding away. The last few games. 3 defeats in 4 for the Hatters. And they move out of their lofty top half position, which I'm sure they'd be delighted to finish in. Very intrigued to see how Tom Ince does with Luton, whether they can get a tune out of him there. Certainly been a very serviceable Championship player for Blackpool and for Derby at times. Less so for Stoke, it has to be said, I think. Huddersfield on a poor run there. Look, 4 defeats and a draw in the last 5. Both of these teams are good home teams, aren't they? Luton, up until that defeat there. Who was that last home defeat against? QPR had 10 points in 4 at home. Huddersfield's away form is rubbish. Look at that. 9 points in 13 this season and 1 point from the last 5. Recent games, have they had difficult runs? Luton had that win against Bournemouth with the big caveat of the red card and a home win against Bristol City. They have played Brentford, lost to Blackburn though. All feels middling, doesn't it? Huddersfield they're on a slide there, aren't they? Huddersfield only 2 wins in the last 8 by the look of it. Although there's a Reading in there, there's a Watford in there. There's 2 Watfords in there. They did win one of those games. Let's have a look at your comments in this one. There you go. Izzy Brown. I like that. I like Izzy Brown, actually. He's such a waste of talent, and he always seems to get injured. I remember him gliding around for Luton at the start of last season. I thought he'll be the guy until he gets injured. Luton, solid at home. Huddersfield, 2 points from last 8 away. Only point at all in 2021 versus 10 men. Ouch. 2-0 Luton. 1-0 Luton. 1-1. 2-0. 2-1 Luton. 2-2 draw. 2-0 Luton. Home. Effie Sodger. Is he the guy who used to wear the bandana while he was playing? Tremendous. He used to play for Stevenage as well, didn't he? 2-2. 1-1. Hard game. Huddersfield, do play good football. Yeah, it might be. It's a good point, Ryan, since they lost Aiting. 3-0 Luton. 2-1 Luton. Really like Huddersfield this season. Play some entertaining stuff. Rhodes hat-trick. We're not on Sheffield Wednesday yet, are we? 1-0 Luton. 2-0 Luton. I'm going to go for, bearing in mind they're both good home teams in the main, let's go for Luton and bore up the stream. I've only gone for 1 away win so far. Don't worry, we've got Wycombe and Forest to come at the end, so spoiler alert there. Home win, Luton to beat Huddersfield. Moving on, Millwall versus Sheffield Wednesday. Good luck. Sheffield Wednesday are just bonkers, aren't they? The worse things get off the pitch, the better they start to play. Millwall are trying to break the world record for the number of draws in the season. And Millwall don't win many home games. However, there is an upward trend for Millwall at the moment. 4 undefeated, only 1 goal conceded in those games. Should have beaten Norwich when you looked at the chances and the penalty they were not given at the end of that game. But Sheffield Wednesday have 16 points in 7 games. You explain it. I can't. They're in fine form, but because of the rising tide, they haven't managed to get out of the bottom 3. Let's look at the home and away form. And I've already told you, Millwall's home form, poor. 1 win in 13 this season. However, only 3 defeats, 9 draws at home. Wow. And as you can see, the last 5 games, 4 of those drawn. Sheffield Wednesday's away form, well, that was the first away win in the last 5 against Bournemouth in the midweek to finish off the tenure of Jason Tindall there. Yeah, look, just there's the recent form. 1 win there over Huddersfield for the Lions. Just full of draws, isn't it? And Sheffield Wednesday just strange. I can't predict it. Let's plead the 5th. Go to your comments here. Millwall need another 10 draws from the final 19 to set an all-time record. Wednesday failed to score in the last 4 versus the Lions. Zahor, he's not looking likely to score at the moment from what I've seen. Marcus says Wednesday. Owen says 1-1. Paul says 0-0. We're not doing a watch along, don't worry. 2-0. 1-1 says Red Revolution. Draw 0-0. There you go. Jimmy's back in Zahor. 0-0. 0-0. 2 on Wednesday. Millwall has to be a draw. 0-0. 1-1. Mark Beaver's Darby. Unbelievable scenes. Like you'd forgotten about the 8-0, John. You were thinking about it only this morning. I know you were. 3-3. Let's throw one in there. Here we go. Home. I think Millwall are going to win. I don't know why. I just think they will. Although Sheffield Wednesday will probably win 4-0 or something now. And Carl saying Jordan Rhodes will score a hat-trick. If anyone wants to laugh, classic moment in the watch-along the other night where I'm saying Jordan Rhodes is not the player he used to be, and then 30 seconds later he scores. Great stuff. Wickham versus Chris Hughton's improving Nottingham Forest. Get your predictions in. Wickham down at the bottom of the garden. And we used to watch that? Poddington Peas. Wow. Wickham versus Forest there. Forest have, it's not quite Sheffield Wednesday form of 16 points in 7 games. 16 points in 9 games for Forest. Definite consistent trend upwards since their hard run of games. They won at Coventry in the week. 10 points in 5. They've weathered that defeat. Who was that against in the middle of that run? Defeat against Borough. And as we predicted, they probably would. Just moving steadily in the right direction. Wickham, 12 points adrift after the draw against Birmingham 0-0 in midweek. Not looking good for Wickham. They've added back Auzathoth and Obita's come in. They signed someone else, Wickham. I think they did. Can't remember who. But a few additions to try and get things working. But a hard old run for Wickham at the moment. Let's look at the homes and aways. Forest away from home recently. Wow. 8 points in the last 4. Very serviceable away from home there, Forest, in recent times. Wickham are the second worst team in the league at home. They are the worst team in the league, period, though. And it will be no surprise to any of you that I am going to go away. Only my second away prediction. Out of the 12, I only got Watford and Forest to win away this round. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Martin O'Neill, Darby. There you go. You got European Cup winner in there for us. Wickham scored only 8 at home. Forest scored only 8 away. There you go. 0-0. 1-0 Forest. 2-0 Forest. 2-1 Forest. 0-0. Home 2-0. Home 2-1 Forest. 2-0 Forest. 3-1 Forest. Go on, Ryan. You go for the underdogs. 2-0 Forest. 2-0 Forest. 1-0 Forest. Forest scored 2 away from home for the first time this season. Ouch, there you go. So they might need to keep a clean sheet to win. Forest 2-1 Forest. Wickham to get another draw. Akinfenwa and Nick Paisley on the pitch. So possibly. Wickham 1-0, 90 plus 7. Love it. Forest averaging 2 shots on target per game recently. Yeah. Chris Houghton, everybody. Forest 1-0. 3-0. Forest. Boom. There we go. That is our show. We have predicted all 12 games. Join me tonight. It's a late one, actually. It's an 8:15 kickoff. I don't know why that is, especially considering Norwich have to travel from one side of England all the way over to Wales. But join me at 8 p.m. tonight for Swansea versus Norwich, where we will test the Michael Jordan theory involving Emi Buendia. But in all seriousness, really, 2 really good teams there. That should be excellent tonight. Let me know if you want to shout out before we go. I'm going to say thank you to the Donovan brothers in loving memory of Michael Donovan. They sponsor this show. South East London, lifelong Millwall fan, admirer of this show. Thank you to the Donovan brothers. We'll see if Millwall can get another draw for you this midweek, you Donovans. Thank you to Paul, who super chatted first, who was the king of the bin. Go and get involved over on Patreon. New shows are coming. And on Patreon, if you don't want to sit and hear me ramble for 57 minutes, I now go and record those predictions, bang, 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 in the space of about 3 minutes. So well worth hitting subscribe on Patreon. Extra Q&A show every Thursday now. And we're looking to add I Have Just Witnessed classics over on Patreon as well. Best way to support the channel. If you're still in the stream, hit the thumbs up button. If you're watching on Facebook or Twitter, do exactly the same damn thing. And thank you, everybody. 14,000 we reached earlier in the week. Next target, 15,000. There you go. I can do very basic mathematics. Look at me. Let's say thank you to everybody here in the chat. Cheers, Leeds 2021. Ryan, Nat, Owen, Paul. Thank you again for the super chat. Mr. E as well. And come and join us tonight for the watch along. And then tomorrow, Saturday Super Stream, we'll be here for about 3.5 hours. It was last week, 1:30 till just after 5 o'clock. Great fun. And then I go and eat a takeaway afterwards. What a way to spend your Saturday. Come and join me. With all of that being said, thank you very much for watching. And it is over and out. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.